does somebody around here leak that the vice president is upset with the president about Gaza?
And that's a great question, because I mean, if I could answer a question why somebody would leak, I mean, that would make me pretty smart and a lot smarter than I am. Let me just give me a second here. You've seen us officially and on the record, not in a leak, refute the basic premise of the story, that there's some sort of daylight between the vice president and the president. I found the headline of the story interesting, that the vice president is pushing the White House to, you fill in the blank, XYZ. Last I looked, the vice president is part of the White House. She's part of the team.
You dick!
And if she wasn't offering her advice and counsel to the president on innumerable issues, that would be a story. Her job is to provide advice and counsel to the president.
So she does want President Biden to show more concern publicly for humanitarian damage then in Gaza.
I think we've already pushed back on the premise of the story that there's some sort of daylight between her and the president. I would say that the entire leadership team here in the administration, Peter, wants to see no civilian casualties, wants to see the Israelis be more surgical, more precise, wants to see that humanitarian aid is increased into Gaza. And obviously, as the vice president has said herself, we all want to make sure that Israel has the tools and capabilities they need to defend themselves.
Who needs it?
People from the vice president's team are going to the press with this.
The president is comfortable and confident that in Vice President Harris he has a real teammate and a significant leader who understands the foreign policy direction that he's trying to take this country and our leadership on the world stage, and is candid, forthright, educated, smart, and willing.
Seriously.
To tell him exactly what she thinks. I'm not going to talk about what her advice and counsel is to the president. I would just tell you that the entire leadership team here all understands the importance of making sure Israel is more precise, more cautious, and more deliberate in their targeting, even as we are sure and certain that Israel continues to need our security assistance and support to go after Hamas.
Just one more time on the timing here. I understand obviously you want this to end as soon as possible. Everyone does, but there are reports that Sullivan told Netanyahu that Israel has to end this current phase of fighting in weeks, not months. Is that part of the message that he's delivering?
I'm not going to divulge private conversations that we've had and will continue to have with the Israelis. Obviously, one of the things that Jake did talk to him about was progress in the war and where the Israelis think it's going to go. He did talk about possible transitioning from what we would call high-intensity operations, which is what we're seeing them do now, to lower-intensity operations sometime, in the near future. But I don't want to put a timestamp on it. I think you can understand that the last thing we'd want to do is telegraph to Hamas what they're likely to face in coming weeks and months.
Don't you feel angry?
I know this came up yesterday, but I just want to be clear. Does the administration agree that indiscriminate attacks are prohibited under international humanitarian law?
If attacks obviously are not done with due concern to civilians, then obviously that's a deep concern.
I heard that somewhere.
But you have stressed that the president, speaks for American foreign policy. He has said that Israel is engaged in indiscriminate bombing in Gaza. So then, wouldn't it stand to reason that this is a violation?
I've answered that question I don't know how many times yesterday. I have nothing more to add on that. The president was referring to concerns that he has and that we have, that we know the intent is there by the Israelis to limit.
Wow, that was good TV.
Civilian casualties and damage to civilian infrastructure, but sometimes the results don't always come out that way. That's what he was referring to.
What happened? Did balls drop off?
You keep stressing their intent, that it's Israel's intent to minimize civilian casualties, but that intention isn't what we're seeing on the ground right now by the president's own admission. They are bombing indiscriminately. So are you saying that their intent is somehow more important than the result?
Both are important. I mean, obviously, the most important thing is the results and outcomes, but it has to be driven by a sincere intent to limit civilian casualties. So both are important. Look, I don't think it's useful to revisit the whole discussion from yesterday because you're not going to get a different answer out of me. We don't want to see a single more innocent civilian killed or wounded. One is too many. We've said that over and over again. And we're working hard with the Israelis. And Jake's doing that right now to get a better sense of what they can do, as I said in my opening statement, to be more surgical, to be more discriminate in their targeting. That's important. At the same time, it's important that they have the tools and capabilities they need to go after a truly genocidal threat represented by Sinwar and these Hamas terrorists.
You told me yesterday that a future governance in Gaza must exclude Hamas, requires reform in the Palestinian Authority, and represent the Palestinian people. Can you explain what the administration believes to be Israel's role in supporting this, especially if one is to believe allegations that Prime Minister Netanyahu has been working to divide leadership in the Palestinian people, essentially by choking the Palestinian Authority while also supporting Hamas by allowing foreign funds to be received by them?
I don't think I can really improve upon what I said yesterday. We believe that whatever governance in Gaza looks like, it's got to meet the aspirations of the Palestinian people. We know Hamas does not represent the vast majority of the Palestinian people.
What are you saying?
And so what we believe, as I said earlier, is that the best way to get at that kind of governance is through a reformed and a revitalized Palestinian Authority, which Secretary Blinken has spoken to quite well, that we're going to continue to work on.
Do you believe that Israel has a role in that?
Of course, Israel would have a role in helping us move towards that outcome, as well as other regional partners and Arab states in the region as well.
On Jake's visit, with him meeting the Saudis and the administration saying that normalization between Saudi and Israel will bring the goal of a two-state solution together, can you break that down for me, please? How does that work in the current post-October 7 reality?
Again, Patsy, we know that a two-state solution right now is going to seem elusive to a lot of folks. We understand that, given what's going on since the 7th of October.
No, I don't think.
So, but that doesn't mean you give up on it. And in his meetings in Riyadh, one of the things Jake talked about with the Crown Prince was the idea of normalization between Israel and Saudi Arabia. This is an idea we had been pushing forward before the 7th of October, and we have indications that the Saudis are still interested in having that conversation going forward. That's a positive thing. Are we going to get there tomorrow? No, of course not. But that's, as I said yesterday, it's an important milestone to perhaps getting to a viable two-state solution.
One last one, please. The Council on American-Islamic Relations, or CAIR, has called on the Biden administration to respond to reports that the Israeli military has shot women, children, and babies in, quotes, execution style after they sought refuge in a school in Gaza. Is there any truth to those claims?
I have no indication to verify those accusations.
Another question. You just said that this war can end if Hamas lay down their arms. Hamas political wing in Qatar indicated today that they will be willing to be part of the PA. Is this acceptable to end the war? Is this acceptable to the U.S.?
What needs to happen to end the war today is the conditions I just laid out. And there's 3 of them, and they're not that difficult. Lay down your arms, turn over those who were responsible for the October 7th attacks, and give up all the hostages.